Today we're reading Acts chapters 7 and 8, and we begin with Stephen, who was one of those original 6 or 7 deacons, rather, back at the church in Jerusalem, one of the Hellenistic Jews, one who wasn't necessarily from Jerusalem, but he goes out preaching. And the Jews, the Jewish leaders, they don't like what he's preaching. He's preaching Jesus. And so they bring him before the Sanhedrin to give an account. And here's what's interesting about it. He doesn't pull any punches. He goes through the history of Jewish rejection in the process of telling what seems like a story. He points out that Joseph was rejected by his brothers, that Moses was rejected and exiled from Egypt, that Moses was rejected by his own people, the Israelites, that Moses, after the Exodus, was rejected once again, that the rejection of Moses' leadership when they worshiped that golden calf, it was once again a rejection. And then he even throws in Amos, who was one of God's prophets who was rejected. And then he goes right into the point. As your fathers did, you do it also. You're rejecting Jesus Christ, whom God has sent. Well, as a result, they stone him to death. And then we get a glimpse in chapter 8 of one of the people standing by who was facilitating this whole ordeal. And that was Saul, who would later become the Apostle Paul. Well, Philip goes out and begins preaching, preaches over in Samaria, and what happens? Some Samaritans get saved, but that was according to the plan that we saw back in Acts chapter 1, verse 8, at the commission of Jesus. And then, well, what are we going to do about all these Samaritans who have gotten saved? They call in Peter. Now, it's interesting why they call in Peter, and I would encourage you to read the notes on today's reading to see why Peter. And then Philip heads from there out and into the wilderness, and there he comes across an Ethiopian eunuch, and he preaches to him Jesus, and that eunuch gets saved, and he's baptized. That's what's in today's reading. Really exciting stuff. We'll see you tomorrow.